What is going on, guys? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairlicious. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for more videos on hair loss topics and also current treatments. I also have my second hair transplant coming up in November, so stay tuned for that. Now, one of the most effective ways to combat thinning hair is something known as microneedling. I've done a ton of videos on this. You guys can actually visit my website at hairliciously.com to learn more about microneedling, my DHT blocking shampoo and supplement, as well as my newly released hair growth serum. So today's video is going to cover 3 things that you guys need to avoid completely if you do not want to accelerate your hair loss. And with that said, there are certain things that you guys just want to avoid completely if you are trying to reduce hair fall and also slow down your follicles from miniaturizing. And the thing is, while avoiding certain foods certainly won't result in stopping genetic hair loss completely, it will surely help avoid in some capacity and reduce the overall balding process. There really isn't any one particular food in general, but different combinations of these foods over a long period of time can actually have detrimental effects, and I will explain exactly what and why you should avoid eating these following things. Number 1 on our list, it's probably what everyone eats, is greasy foods. I have a big problem when it comes to greasy foods because I love eating anything from burgers, pizza, French fries, Panda Express, Burger King, just anything that you guys can name. Greasy foods is actually one of the most unhealthiest things that you guys can consume, and it's also detrimental to your hair follicles as they can also clog up your arteries and cause greasy skin on the scalp. This oftentimes leads to follicle miniaturization and also restricts the blood flow on the scalp while clogging up the sweat pores. So clogged pores on the scalp is very important because greasy foods can actually enable DHT and other harmful hormones to be trapped into these pores, which can then trigger the hair loss mechanism all over again instead of releasing all of the bad stuff. And there's actually studies that have also linked monounsaturated and saturated fats to increased testosterone levels, which can potentially lead to elevated levels of DHT. Hydrogenated oils also affect hair growth as it suppresses the essential fatty acids needed for healthy hair, such as sebum, which at healthy levels, it can actually help keep the hair moisturized and protects the follicles from bacterial and fungal infections. And what's even interesting is that there was a study done in 1989 that showed that the subcutaneous blood flow in patients with male pattern baldness was actually 2.6 times lower than the values found in the scalps of normal patients. This means that a reduced blood flow in the scalp means that there's going to be oxygen and vital nutrients which are not being properly circulated, which is needed to obviously generate strong, healthy hair follicles, as well as the overall hair growth, thus leading to slow, persistent hair follicle miniaturization. So obviously, it's crucial that we avoid greasy foods that can actually contribute to these issues pertaining to our hair follicles. Next up is sugary foods. So this is also a big problem that I have. I love eating ice cream and candy and anything that has sugar, Starbucks, Skittles, M&Ms, and it's just a daily battle just trying to resist eating sweets. Sugar foods once in a while is okay, but consuming too much sugar has already been correlated with a ton of major health issues, including diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and even hair loss. Studies show that the average American actually consumes nearly 82 grams of sugar a day, which is more than 3 times the daily recommended dosage. And we have something known as insulin, which is an important hormone that promotes the absorption of sugar, also known as glucose, into our body cells. Now, when somebody actually becomes insulin resistant, the cell no longer responds how it normally does to insulin, and glucose is no longer absorbed as effectively into the body, which causes the body to produce more insulin to achieve the same effect. Now, if this isn't fixed, it can lead to something known as type 2 diabetes. This has everything to do with hair loss because there's multiple studies that actually have linked men suffering from early hair loss to significantly being more likely to develop insulin resistance. And more importantly, sugar may effectively increase DHT levels, which, as we all know, is one of the main culprits for male pattern hair loss. And the sex hormone binding globulin, also known as SHBG, is a glycoprotein that binds to sex hormones, including DHT. And there's actually numerous studies that does indicate that sugar consumption causes insulin to be released, and levels of insulin have been shown to be inversely correlated with SHBG. This means that more insulin equals less SHBG, and we know that less SHBG means more DHT. So this shows that sugar consumption can effectively lead to DHT, which would accelerate hair loss. And the other aspect of sugar consumption involves something known as the inflammation inflammation of the hair follicles and also the scalp. A lot of people experiencing hair loss tend to have this issue where, we have itchy scalps on balding areas, and the exact role of inflammation isn't, for hair loss isn't fully understood, but several studies does reflect the correlation between baldness and inflammation, and studies indicate the possibility of a slow inflammatory scarring process, which has been suggested by the irreversibility of hair loss. This means that, balding people tend to have significantly higher levels of fibrosis compared to non-balding individuals, and that's why some people actually find it effective to do hair massages to release all that fibrosis that's built up. And this is also another reason why JAK inhibitors, which treat various inflammatory diseases, were shown to have promising results in promoting hair growth, also as seen in some of the studies by Dr. Cristiano, which I've actually covered a video on previously. So this means that reducing a high sugar diet as well as reducing the glycemic load has been shown to reduce chronic inflammation and insulin resistance. Now, the last thing on our list, it's kind of unexpected, but it's actually something known as tap water. Tap water has been shown to also cause hair loss. If you guys don't filter your water, including the ones that you guys drink and shower with, your body is going to do all of the filtering. And even in the US and even some parts of the countries, first world countries, the quality of water is not always up to par, and gradual buildup of chemicals, including sodium fluoride, aluminum, they actually might have devastating effects to your hair, but also to your body as well. So, for example, sodium fluoride in water can cause dryness and inflammation to the scalp, therefore further agitating the process of hair miniaturization. And sometimes you'll notice white residue in tap water, and this is what we know as calcium carbonate, which can actually cause calcification of the scalp and lead to hair loss. There are certain chemicals which are surprisingly found even in bottled water, as chemicals are known to leach into the water through the plastic. And this is important because bioaccumulation of these heavy metals long-term are known to be a factor in hair loss and a myriad of health issues. The best way to avoid this is to invest in a filter device which removes different types of particles, microbes, as well as chlorine and other heavy metals that are going to be detrimental to your health and also to your hair follicles. So in conclusion, evidence and numerous research and studies show that genetic hair loss isn't purely all genetic. There are compelling links and studies between hair loss and the types of food that we eat. If you're genetically predisposed to genetic hair loss, avoiding the mentioned items is definitely going to slow down the progression of hair loss by reducing inflammation and the interaction of hormones, insulin, and DHT, and also keep your body away from harmful chemicals that may be present in everyday things that we interact with. Hope you guys liked the video. If there's anything else that you guys want to add, or if you have any questions on this video topic, make sure to leave me some comments in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.